Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome. I'm Anne and we are here today to talk about romance, more specifically writing romance. And I'm gonna say I'm hoping that it's exactly 10, but 10 things you not need to know, but like you should keep in mind if you are planning on writing a romance novel. Maybe you've already written it, maybe you want to think about self-publishing. Just if you're into the romance world or you want to write a romance book, then maybe this will help you out. I know that I definitely needed something like this when I first started. So yeah, I am a romance author if you're wondering who the heck are you and why do you feel like you know enough to make this video. I will say I have been a self-published romance author for the past 5 years. I have written 28 books. I just finished my 28th book yesterday. I'm being a bit generous with myself by saying finish. It's got a lot of edits to do, but let's just say 28, okay? Whatever. So I've written 28 books. I started out with not one grain of knowledge about self-publishing, writing, the romance industry in general. I just had a book and I just went from there. And now here I am, and I have this as my day job. This is my full-time job, which is reasonably hard to do but not impossible. And yeah, I wanted to have this YouTube channel as something a little different, something to kind of merge my love of makeup and reading and just engaging with you guys. So I did actually do 10 things you need to know about self-publishing, which I'll link up here if you wanted to watch that first. And I want to quickly say there are no rules apart from the few obvious ones which I talk about in the self-publishing video, but beyond that there are no creative rules. So let's just quickly make that clear. There is no right or wrong way to write a book as long as it comes from your heart and you are being genuine. But yeah, so I want this to be reasonably snappy because I don't want to drone on. I want to get to the point, but I will drone on because that's just who I am. So bear with me. First up, number 1, read romance. Now this kind of sounds like almost self-explanatory, like Stephen King, my ultimate hero, said if you want to become an author, you've got to do 2 things. You've got to read a lot and you've got to write a lot. And as always, he was right. But romance specifically, I know I came into the genre and as a romance lover, as a reader, as a ferocious reader, and that is how I think that I got to the point of where I am today, despite that I had quite a few problems with my book, technical problems, and didn't know a lot of things. I was just a romance lover, and I said this in my first video about self-publishing. I said my first book was kind of almost like just a love letter to romance, and just all these romance books that I've written, I wrote it because I was a voracious reader, as most romance readers are. We'll kind of get into that a little bit later, but I was a voracious reader, so I had read so many books I felt like I didn't have any more to read. So I was like, well, what is my ideal book? What is my ideal book as a reader? What do I want to read? And then I wrote that. So just keep that in mind. You have to read romance. You have to have a passion for it. There are obviously going to be exceptions to the rule, as I said in my other video, but you're here hopefully because you love romance and you have a creative soul, and maybe you have a story inside of you, or maybe you've already written it and you just kind of don't know what to do. So that's the main one. If you're going to take anything away from this, you need to love the genre, and you need to love romance, and you need to love reading. Number 2, know your audience / know your genres, subgenres, tropes, all of that. This is a fucking loaded one for number 2, but as I was mentioning before, your audience and romance readers are such a special and beautiful kind of reader. As I said, they are ferocious, they will read. In my peak, I was reading 2-3 books a day. I wanted that escape. I know a lot of people use romance as they have a lot going on in their lives or in their minds, and the world is freaking crazy right now, so maybe you want just to escape into a beautiful world and something that will just make you feel safe. So you, as an author, as a romance author, figure out that audience. What audience within the romance genre do you want to target? Because readers, of course, there will be a lot of romance readers who read many genres within the industry and many tropes, but I also will say that there are a lot of readers who are dedicated to a particular trope or to a particular subgenre. like MC. The first book I read in is Motorcycle Romance, MC. And the reason why I'm here today is because MC readers are just passionate. They always are, but such a big group of women who are always looking for new books. So it's a really, really good genre for me, and a really, oh, delivery. Oh, I'm so excited. I don't know what it is. So yeah, I have the MC reader community. I owe everything to them. Because when I first started out, I didn't know anything about promotion. I didn't know anything about reader groups. I didn't know anything about that. I stumbled along. But there were a lot of dedicated ladies who found my books and looked past a lot of the flaws, of which there were many, and they shared it in these groups. And that's what another thing you need to know. This might be a long one, number 2. Oh my god, this might be a long one, but there are, especially in the romance community, as I said, it is a community, so women and men, it's predominantly women though, they are involved in all of these groups that, MC readers, that is where a lot of my new readers came from. Someone posted in this MC group, like, here's a new MC author, and all of these women, like, they just trust each other in their recommendations. So that is a huge part of it, and you need to figure out, like, right, I love enemies to lovers books, this is what I'm going to do. And then you figure out what groups, like, what's your audience. And this isn't me saying that you need to find one genre, subgenre, trope and stick to it. There are plenty of authors who have made a name for themselves as being somewhere that readers know what they're getting within a certain trope. They kind of stay within that because they know that they have their dedicated readers who will always buy their books, and they've really carved out a niche for themselves. Me and Taylor, my fiance, have like arguments, is it niche or niche? It's a niche. So for me, even now 5 years on, I have written many different subgenres within romance, and I've even kind of crept out of romance a little bit, and I will know, no matter what, that if I continue to just write MC books, I will still make my living, because I have so many dedicated readers who have loved my MC books, and they kind of, a lot of my readers are amazing, and they will be like, well, I haven't read this, like, I have a paranormal series, I don't read paranormal, but I'll try it for you. That's another thing you should quickly note. I figured out, because I read across all genres, but there are a lot of readers that, for many reasons, just want that romance and know what they're going to get, and they just love it. It makes them feel safe, as I said. But when I wrote my paranormal series, I had a lot of readers who even were like, I bought this, but I don't like paranormal, I'm not going to read it. So just keep that in mind. Don't change what you want to write at all, but just realize that readers know what they like, and if you find something that works for you and you like love writing it, you should just keep doing it. And like, as I said, there are many tropes. There's like enemies to lovers, there's like bully, there's age gap, there's bad boy, there's like millions of different ones. So you should just maybe even just do some research. Maybe even do some research if you haven't kind of delved into it, because I know personally, I knew that I read all of these different romance books and they all had different kind of formulas or whatever, but I never really just cottoned on to it until it became my job. So number 3, sex. Let's talk about sex. This is a big one with romance books. You should immediately know, well, not immediately, and this is kind of the reason why the romance genre in particular has like gone shit when it really hasn't, because all of these people are like, oh, they're just sex books, whatever. No, that's not what they are. Like, just straight out, if you're going to be snobby about it, like, I don't even know why you're watching this. But there is a really kind of like preconceived notion about romance that these are just like bodice rippers, and this is just like, oh no, this is like not good books because it's just all sex, which is so not true. Yeah, but more about that later. Anyway, I'm talking about what you're going to write. What is your sex scene? What are your sex scenes going to be? Are they going to be like full on, like 3 pages erotica? There's nothing wrong with either way to do it, by the way, quickly say. Or are you going to just do more fade to black? Are you going to try and make it maybe a little bit more, I don't know, PG? Is it going to be like, oh, they kissed and just went into the room and then the next morning they woke up? Like, figure that out. What do you want to do? And also let's just talk about the way that sex has been written, you know, this throbbing member and all of this kind of stuff that is cliche. Again, there's nothing wrong with it, but maybe just be careful about like her pulsating core and all of that. Like, it can be done very well, but don't force it, and don't try and kind of like go with all of these cliches, and think about like great sex you've had. If you want to have really good graphic sex scenes, or use from your own life, let's just say that, or fantasies you've had. So sex is a big one in romance, and a lot of readers read it for that, read it for those steamy scenes, and they want to feel that, and other readers aren't interested in it. They want the romance more than they want the sex, and it is, as I said, neither one's wrong, but just figure out, like, are you going to be full-on erotica, or are you going to be romance, or are you going to be a little bit of mix of the two? I know I am. Like, a lot of my earlier books were very, very sex heavy, and I was into that. Not so much now, because it's just like my writing's changed, but if a story calls for it, I'll like get down and dirty, you know? So just figure that out. Like, how are you gonna write sex? Like, what is gonna, how sexy is your book gonna be? Anyway, number 4, know the industry. I kind of touched on this before, but the romance industry is like $1 billion industry. It is huge. There are so many romance readers, there are so many romance authors doing amazing, like, this is like, we're freaking, us romance writers, we're just helping Jeff Bezos freaking become a trillionaire. Like, the romance industry is giant, as I said, because readers read so fast and they always want more. There's never going to stop being a demand for romance books. And the romance, especially in the self-published industry, which I'm a self-published author, I think you guys know that already, but it is so much different than any other industry. The romance industry is very much a community. It is women that have met and become lifelong friends. I know I have so many lifelong friends that I have met through the industry, and there's like signings, something that I didn't know were a thing until I met my fiance on my very first signing. But they're almost like think of like Comic-Con for romance readers. It is like this big kind of just community, and everyone comes to like meet the authors and do signings. That's not something that I knew was a thing as I was in the industry. Like, as a reader, I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't know that the, you know, Facebook groups were a thing. I didn't know anything about how big the romance industry is and how different it is. It is also, it's I don't want to shit talk it here because like it's amazing, but it is passionate. And there are there's a lot of drama that can go on if you're not careful, and if you come into this the wrong way, or if you associate yourself with maybe the wrong people for the wrong reasons. It is a really, really tight-knit community, and if you find yourself doing this the right way, then like it'll do wonders for you. But just like recognize that the romance community is like very, very different than any other community that you, as I said, I didn't know anything about it, and it surprised me to this day. Like, it's wonderful. I'll say that. Number 5, this is a very big one for romance readers. Are you going to have a happily ever after, an HEA? Most romance readers are like, me included, are like violent about their need for it. Like, I have seen so many brilliantly written books and authors get slammed because they have not said in advance that there is no HEA here, there's no happy ever after. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. I do like it from time to time, but it is hard when a reader is expecting like this feeling and this like this escape, and they're not getting the happy ever after that they have come to expect and they need with their reading. So you need to be very careful about that. And also there's the trigger warning thing too. A lot of traumatized women, or women who have been in horrible situations, as I said, they're doing this to escape and feel comfortable. And things like abuse, domestic violence, sexual assault, all of that, they can be really triggering for some women who have had bad experiences or have been traumatized. So you just need to be mindful of that, because the trigger warning thing is really big. I'm not saying you need to or you don't need to, but you just need to be aware that you need to kind of, if you're going to have dark themes in your books, if you're going to have dark themes in your book, and there's nothing wrong with it, I love a great dark book, I've written a few, you just need to realize that there are readers, and it can really damage the reviews. Like, it is, especially in the Goodreads community, it can be a really big deal if you kind of market this as one thing and then you have all of this darkness in it, and a reader thought that they were getting this sweet story and it's really traumatized them, or it's really brought up past trauma. So you just need to remember that, and as you market your book, if it is going to be really dark, just make sure you make that known from the get-go, because as I said, it can be like a really big deal, and it can really affect your book. So, and as I said, I'm not saying you need to write one or the other, and I'm not even saying that you need to put trigger warnings on if that offends you, but just be aware of that. Covers and branding. I did talk about this in my self-publishing kind of video, which is why, but I also need to talk about it here because romance covers in particular, though again, they have had just a lot of negative publicity because, oh, it's a half-naked guy, and I don't want to be reading that in public, which is bullshit. Like, I get it. I've got the half-naked books, and I have kind of felt this twinge of like, oh, what do people think of me? But now I'm just like, oh, who gives a fuck, you know? But there are readers who love like the beautiful half-naked guy, like the saucy cover, and it will sell a lot of books if you do it the right way. And there's a reason why a lot of authors do it, because it is like, it's the mark of like a reader loves that, and I have plenty of them, you know. I quickly grab one without making everything fall down. But you know, like, this is one of my books, and it has like a half-naked guy on it, and it is still one of my best-selling books to this day. Like, I'm not gonna say like it's a good book, you know, it's a reason too, but a lot of readers will see this cover and they will be like, yes, I'm gonna get some sassiness in this. But also, like, if you're gonna put a half-naked, you know, guy on the cover, then kind of think about, are you gonna have a lot of sex in this? Is it gonna be really erotic? Not that it needs to be, but just like, I don't know, a lot of these might be self-explanatory and you guys are like, what the fuck, I already knew all this, but maybe you don't, because I know I didn't. So, okay, number 7, a pen name. This is another controversial one. A lot of romance authors write with a pen name. I feel like there was some drama, like ages ago, about all these readers being like, oh my gosh, I'm so offended that this author has a pen name, like, I feel so betrayed. And I feel like, it's like not okay, because this world, you know, you don't know their situation. They could be like a teacher in a small town, where being a romance author is like really, like, there's a stigma attached to it, because I know that. I come from a small town in New Zealand, if you don't know. I'm from New Zealand, and to this day, as soon as it came out that I was writing sex books, there is just like a bit of a stigma to it. And, you know, or maybe you like don't know how you're gonna go yet, or maybe like you don't, like, I know mine was like, I don't know what this thing's gonna do. I don't, like, what if I fail? It's better to fail and no one will know it was me, kind of thing. So just, now I'm proud of it, but it's okay to have a pen name, and it's okay not to have a pen name. Plenty of authors write under famous authors, so just don't feel one way or the other if you would prefer to, even if you're just changing your last name, you know, or your first name, and you keep parts of your name, like, that's what mine is. But you just need to like figure out, do you want to do this under your name, or do you want to maybe just take a pseudonym or something like that. I'm not saying like if you're a guy, pretend to be a girl, because I know there are people that do that, and I'm just not going to talk about that. But I'm just saying, just be aware. How do you want to do it? It's okay to do it one way or the other. But if you're a reader watching this and you kind of get offended when an author admits they have a pen name, just try to understand, like, you're not in their shoes. So unless you've walked a mile in someone's shoes, just try a little bit to not judge anyone. It's a beautiful community, and I think we just don't need to judge each other like that over something silly like that. 8, beta readers. Again, this is something like maybe you don't want to do, or maybe you do. Like, I'm saying, all of this isn't rules. Like, I'm not the expert here. There are plenty of other people that probably could say this a lot more succinctly than I can, but I'm just here and I'm doing it. So I didn't know about beta readers when I first started to know about editors when I first started. So I got approached by some like hardcore readers that were like, oh, I'd love to beta read for you because, you know, you fucked up in some of this, because again, I didn't know what I was doing. And if you don't know what a beta reader is, you're pretty much just someone who will look over your book, who will give you feedback, who will note things like continuity. They're not an editor, very quickly. They're not an editor. An editor is someone who you pay, and they will get all the errors out, and they will like edit your book for you. Depending on what kind of editor they are. If they're a developmental editor, then they won't do that. But I kind of talked about that a little bit more in my self-publishing video. So I don't know, like beta readers aren't exclusive to romance by any means, but there's something that I find really valuable, especially if I feel unsure about how a book will be taken to readers. Like, for example, I wrote a really dark book when people weren't really, like, that wasn't what I was known for writing. And not that I wasn't going to release it or anything. I just, you know, want my betas to be like, hey, so what do you think my readers will do? And also, my betas now know my books better than anyone, and I have like a lot of interconnected series and all sorts of timelines and shit that I kind of don't keep track of, which I definitely should. That's like totally my shit, but I will have my beautiful betas that'll be like, hey, you had someone doing something in this book, but then you're doing something in another book. So just figure out if you want a beta, if you want to do like a reader review swap. That's what I did when I first started out. I found an author community, and like I swapped my book with a couple of other romance authors, and we just gave each other feedback. So just realize that you're not good, like writing is a solitary thing, but again, this romance community is so amazing. You are gonna find people to help you out if you know where to look, like Goodreads groups, authors groups, K-boards is a great resource. Just realize that you can go down that avenue if you don't feel as confident and you want some feedback. But just also be careful. Don't send like your Mobi form of a book to anyone via email. Send it to their Kindle, people that you don't know. So just, you can have a beta. I like love my beta readers, but some people don't do them. So just figure out if that's what you want. 9, point of view, first or third, male or female, dual point of view. Again, this is something in romances I feel like is kind of a bigger deal. A lot of romance readers prefer first person. I know I do, but first person present or first person past is again, this is more about the writing of it all. But yeah, the romance industry in particular, I'm not going to say this is a hard and fast rule, because there are plenty of very successful romance authors that do third person, but a lot of romance readers prefer first person. I know as a romance reader, I do, and I write primarily in first person. If I do dual point of views, I do first person for the heroine, the female, and third person for the male, which, like, again, a controversial thing, but personally I like doing it because I feel more comfortable doing it that way, and that's like, you know, I like doing that. There's no rules, you know, and my readers fucking like it, so it's fine. But yeah, and again, if you want to write third person, then that's fine. But just realize that the romance community in particular, they do like first person, and I like first person. And are you going to write it completely from the male's point of view, or if you're doing male, female, are you going to do it completely from first character's point of view, second character's point of view? You're going to mix them up? How are you going to do that? Just figure that out, because again, this is something important for all genres, but the romance community in general, they like first person. But as I said, there's no rules. All right, number 10. I touched on this before, but don't be ashamed. It has taken me a long time to proudly say, hey, I'm a romance author. When I first was starting out, as I said, I'm from a small town, relatively conservative town in New Zealand, and I was embarrassed of the books that I was writing because I didn't want people to talk shit about me, and I was just like, I'm proud of myself, but I just can't be fucked with like the judgment that comes with it all. And yeah, so I just wasn't proud of myself, and it's like, I've written 28 books and I make a living off this, and I did this pretty much all on my own, and it's something I definitely should be proud of. But I had, you know, literary family members kind of like look down their nose at me, being like, oh, romance isn't literary, and just that kind of shit, just little side comments and stuff, which is so unnecessary, and it made me feel bad about myself, which is such crap, because like, writing a book is a big deal and something that you should be proud of. And if you put your heart and soul into something and it's not freaking War and Peace, like, just who cares? And the romance industry is huge, and romance books do such wonderful things for people. Many romance books have saved me, and they have helped me through some really tough, scary points in my life. And you're doing that with, you know, if you are going to write a book and if you're going to release it, you have the potential to really help people. And they look to romance books for this escape and this really special thing. And it is an honor and a privilege to do that to people. So just don't be ashamed of what you're writing, and be proud of yourself. And just like those literary people are just, that's just them speaking of their own insecurities and like their own shitty sex lives or whatever. But yeah, so just don't be ashamed, because this is a beautiful industry, and you're writing stories about love, which is amazing. So just don't be ashamed, be really proud of yourself. And yeah, I hope that has helped. I hope it wasn't too like self-explanatory. I feel like now that when I was writing, I was like, yeah, this is good. Now I'm like, oh god. But I hope that I've helped. And if you are a budding romance author, and if you like this kind of video, I can talk more about the process. If you have questions for me, I could do a question and answer. So just comment down below, and make sure you follow me on Instagram and like my social media and stuff. I hang out there a lot. And if you like this, like subscribe to my channel. It helps me. I don't know, just subscribe. I always feel we're doing that. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.